welcome to this TM Forum conversation with ServiceNow on the subject of order management. My name is Dean Ramsey and I'm the Principal Analyst at TM Forum. Joining me today from ServiceNow is Rohit Batra, who I'd like to give an opportunity now to introduce himself and say a little bit about his role at ServiceNow.
Thanks, Dean. I'm glad to be here. My name is Rohit Batra. I run the product management team at ServiceNow for Telecommunications and Media. I've been in this industry for about 20 odd years across various organizations from Amdocs, Salesforce, Oracle, and in different capacities. So really excited to be here.
Thanks, Rohit. So as you know, at TM Forum, we've been recently involved in a large deep dive project research into the telecoms order management space. And I think despite this being a really mature software segment, we are seeing some significant new growth and a new breed of systems appearing in the market. So from the operator conversations that I've had, it seems to me that there's lots of this growth is driven by operators focusing on B2B markets and realizing that lots of the new revenues, the opportunities for the next decade are in fact on the enterprise side. So for them, this means devising new service models and participating in more complex value chains, and also, new value chains that perhaps they haven't been in the past. So this consequently means devising new service models and overhauling the OSS, BSS systems, processes that are currently in place. So, Rohit, I'd like to start by asking what you think has changed for operators from a services perspective. And are they genuinely struggling to fulfill orders for new service models with their current or legacy management systems?
I think there are, Dean, and thanks for the question, but I think there are a couple of key things that have changed over the past couple of years for service providers in the domain of order management. One, I think, because of COVID and everybody working from home and schools actually now being at home, there is a lot of demand in terms of enterpriseization of the home itself, which means services are no longer just about more bandwidth, but it's about security and firewall and all these other capabilities that need to be delivered to the employees' homes itself because people are working remote. And the other part of this is the fact that we are seeing a lot of new partner services combined with service provider connectivity that's been launched in the market. And this is just the way I think the industry is forming. The main change that we've seen in this case was advised by one of our customers here in the US with Lumen, where they looked at this in an interesting fashion. Historically, service providers have looked at providing the entire service package from themselves, which means connectivity, the physical and logical connectivity, the operations of the services, the billing and charging, as well as the customer experience itself. The entire stack from customer engagement down to the network being delivered by a telco. But in the new world, telecom operators have to think about themselves as a platform because they will be bringing in services that are going to be coming from partners and from a variety of different vendors to be able to combine with the connectivity and package it up for the enterprise customer. And I think that's kind of the biggest shift. And order management is the central element of this. It becomes more complex when you're now trying to build in services that are not just owned by you, but also by your partners. And order management has to go across and orchestrate around a variety of different places.
That's really interesting. I think that this platform approach that you're talking about is something that operators are really focused on now. And orchestration is service orchestration is playing a large role in that. I think when operators first started talking about service orchestration, they were talking about orchestrating within their own IT domains. But as soon as you start talking about across different companies, then it adds a whole different level of complexity to the situation. So service orchestration really seems to be massively important at the moment as operators are modernizing their service operations systems and processes. And do you see an orchestrated OSS BSS as kind of the only way forward for operators in the 5G era?
I do. I think orchestration is critical as we look at the new world of 5G and edge services. Historically, when you look at transformation in the past, has always happened in IT. To your point, it's been on customer experience, it's been around CRM, billing, charging, and so on. But today, transformation is starting at the network. And that's why we're seeing a variety of different services coming at the foray of service providers as they're looking to innovate based on the network transformation that they're seeing. which means, NAS, as an example, has been something we've talked about for many years, but now it's mainstream. A lot of the telcos are providing network as a service. They're looking at CaaS as an option. SASE is becoming more and more important for telecom operators. So if you think about all those different services that are coming in, combined with all the traditional services and investment service providers have made already in legacy networks and traditional networks, I think having that orchestration layer that can spin across both those worlds is going to be the critical element to be able to deliver these services. And I think that's the only way forward as we think about the new world of what these new services are going to bring.
Mm-hmm. I hear you mentioning innovation there, and it seems that one of the barriers for operators in being innovative as a company is that you can't force an organization to be innovative. So enabling them to be innovative and agile through the systems that they use and the processes that they have in their service management is kind of key to improving that situation. And I think that automation has a real big role to play in that. So driving as much automation as possible into order management processes is proving to have some kind of real, tangible, real-world benefits, both from a customer experience perspective and in operational efficiency. So could you explain a little bit more about how ServiceNow approached that with workflows and achieving those hugely increased levels of automation that you're providing for your customers?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. I think ServiceNow as an organization, we take great pride in being the workflow for the autonomous network for an operator. What that really means for us is the fact that service providers have made lots of investments in traditional OSS systems and customer management systems and BSS applications, and we're not looking at ripping and replacing them every few years. And so from our perspective, the role of ServiceNow is really to be that workflow engine that can orchestrate those investments that service providers have made across those different domains. So if they have made investments in OSS and BSS and others, we can become that orchestration layer. When an order comes in, how do we pull that data across those different variety of different domains that exist in the OSS? So across physical, logical domains, or if it is across customer engagement systems, or even across partner services. Becoming that workflow that can help provide a single view to the end customer, and also single view to the organization, the service provider themselves, across what the customer owns. That's really the role of ServiceNow. And that's how we see investing in with our customers in the telecommunication industry.
I know that you're doing some very interesting things in the service assurance function. It's something that we talked about last time we spoke on the webinar. I've been seeing this kind of coming together of assurance and fulfillment for some years now, and many operators are trying to close that loop through the central part of the service operations architecture. Do you think this is a kind of significant and profound development for an operator? Because it seems to me that it's something that started as kind of as an operational efficiency exercise in trying to improve data quality and cut down on order fallout and things like that. But it seems to have a much bigger impact in reality by extension. So how do you see that?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. We spoke about this, as you mentioned in the webinar, and it's a topic very close to my heart. I think when you look at traditionally, service providers, for good reason, have had fulfillment and assurance in different domains. The teams who have managed those domains have been different. The systems and applications that have been running underneath have been different. But as we see the world of 5G coming in, we believe that 5G is actually going to bring those worlds together. And there's a reason for it. When you look at a customer buying a network slice from a service provider, that network slice is essentially guaranteeing the service quality that he's going to get, the latency, the throughput that the customer is going to be delivered. So I think if you think about that, then the service assurance and service fulfillment has to come together. When the customer gets committed to a particular service or he orders a particular service, that information of that SLA or the guarantee that's being delivered needs to flow through seamlessly into the service assurance platform. And I think that's the dynamicity of order management that we're seeing, where these worlds of service assurance and service fulfillment are getting integrated more and more, where a single data model and a single architecture can help support those two worlds and bring them together.
I think that scenario with a network slice is kind of a window onto what many future service models will be, where the services are much more dynamic, and therefore the order management process can't be like the old linear order management process where it's just step after step after step. It is an entirely more dynamic process, and assurance kind of links the network back into that and provides kind of the intelligence to inform some of those decision makings in the service assurance. So I think it's certainly something that I've heard from many operators, some of your customers over the last few months. So I know that ServiceNow have been working closely with TM Forum on standards and open APIs. Could you give us a little insight into what the work is that you've been doing and how that's informed some of the development of your solution and what benefits ServiceNow customers are seeing as a result of that work?
Yeah, I think we signed the Open API Manifesto last year for TM Forum. And I think over the course of the products that have been launched since then and the releases that we've had, we've been very committed to making sure that our products align to the industry standards. And we're doing this in two areas. One is the data model itself. As we add new capabilities in the product and the platform of ServiceNow, we are adhering to the industry standards and data model that happen so that customers can adopt it and work with it quite easily. And the other area is open APIs. We strongly believe that open APIs is the way that we can integrate in an ecosystem of different partners and services much better. And so every release of our product as we come out with, we are going to be releasing more and more APIs that can align to those industry standards and open API framework. So we can work and integrate with all these different variety of services and vendors that exist in a typical service provider quite effectively and seamlessly. And we're seeing a faster and agile manner in which new services are coming up. We've had certain examples where customers have been able to launch their services in a matter of a couple of months. And the reason for that is because having an open API framework allows them to integrate with those legacy systems and services that they've invested with in the past quite easily and seamlessly. And that's really where we continue to see our innovation in our products happening as we evolve more and more along the standards that are driven by TM Forum.
It certainly is a significant change for their ability to launch new services. Time to market is something that's always in the conversation, but I think in the last kind of 1 to 2 years, there have been some significant jumps forward for telcos, and I was quite surprised at first when I learned that the use of the TM Forum standards and open APIs is really driving down some of those times. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, Rohit, and it was a great conversation, and I hope we'll speak again soon.